Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're diving into some, well, pretty strong ideas about money, especially for younger people.
Yeah, we're looking at insights from Robert Kiyosaki,
Yeah,
probably known from Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
right. And he has some very direct advice about where young folks should focus their energy, and maybe where they shouldn't.
Exactly. Our goal here is to sort of unpack his main arguments, make them really clear and simple. He uses some specific terms, defines things his own way.
Especially around financial ideas that can seem complicated, we want to make that easy to grasp.
Absolutely. So let's start with his big warning.
Okay, he kicks off with something quite jarring. He says the biggest mistake young people make is thinking, oh, I'm young, I've got plenty of time, I don't need to worry about money yet.
Yeah, he calls that exact thought death. Financial death, basically.
Strong words. Why?
Because for Kiyosaki, time is your #1 asset when you're young. Or it can be your biggest liability if you waste it.
So it works both ways. How you use it is critical.
Totally. He mentioned recently, he's 70 now, and he sees friends who, made good money, had the nice cars, big houses.
Live the good life, seemingly.
Right.
Yeah.
But now they're nearing retirement and have, in his words, zero real assets. Assets that actually produce income.
Ouch. So they traded their time for stuff, not for assets that grow.
That's his point. The time ran out.
Okay, so if time is the key asset, you need a plan, a map for where to invest it, which brings us straight to his famous concept.
The cash flow quadrant. It's from his book, Cash Flow Quadrant, and it's basically his map for how people earn money. Super important to get this.
Let's lay it out. It's 4 categories, right? He splits it left side and right side.
Yep. On the left side first, you've got E for employee.
Okay, that's pretty straightforward. You work for someone else, have a job, get a salary.
Exactly. Seeking that career path, the security.
Yeah.
Then, still on the left, you have S.
S is for small business, self-employed, or specialist.
Right. Think doctors, lawyers, maybe a freelance designer, consultant, high earners, often.
But Kiyosaki has a key distinction for this S group, doesn't he?
He does. He says you're an S, and this is the key, you can't stop working.
Meaning, if you take a long vacation.
Your income stops. Dead. Because it's tied directly to your time, your effort. You own a job, not necessarily a business system.
Ah, okay, so that connects right back to the time issue. You might make good money, but you don't have leverage over your time.
Precisely. That's the left side. Now the right side.
Right.
That's where he says the real wealth, the mega bucks, are built.
But it's also the harder path.
Definitely harder. Takes more time, more education. So first on the right is B for big business.
And big has a specific meaning for him.
Yeah, not just income, it's scale.
Yeah.
500 employees or more. The key is you've built a system that runs ideally without you having to be there every single day.
You own the system, not just the job within it.
Got it. And the last one.
I for professional investor.
This is where your money is doing the heavy lifting. You're investing in assets. Could be businesses, real estate, other things that generate income and appreciate. You're basically funding the Bs, or acquiring assets.
Okay, ESBI, left side, right side. Kiyosaki says he knew early on he wanted to get to the B and I side.
Yeah, for the freedom. But here's the mistake he sees young people making. They focus almost entirely on the E and S side.
The job or the specialized practice.
Right. And why? Because the common advice is do what you love. Follow your passion.
Which sounds great. We hear that all the time.
We do. But this is where Kiyosaki gets controversial. He flips that advice. He links the ES side focus, the do-what-you-love path, primarily with passion.
Okay.
And he actually labels that focus on passion in this financial context as potentially greedy.
Whoa, hang on. Greedy? How is following your passion greedy? That feels counterintuitive.
His framing is this. If you're an E or S, you're generally focused on your career, your income, your skill. You're capturing the value primarily for yourself. You might serve clients or an employer, but the scale is limited.
Okay, I see the logic, even if it's a bit harsh. So what's the alternative on the BI side then, if ES is passion?
BI is focused on purpose.
And purpose means?
For Kiyosaki, purpose is about scale and service. It's for the people. Building a business that employs hundreds solves an unemployment problem. Investing in apartments provides housing.
So the focus shifts from what I love doing to what problem can I solve for many people?
Exactly. Your success is tied to how many people you serve or the scale of the problem you address.
Yeah.
It's a different mindset.
And this difference in mindset has a massive practical consequence he talks about a lot. Taxes.
This is huge in his world. The hidden cost of staying purely on the ES side, he argues, is taxes. They pay the highest rates.
Why is that?
Because employees and most self-employed people earn money first. Then the government takes its cut through income tax before they can even think about investing or saving much. Could be 40%, even up to 60% in some cases, he cites.
Right. Your paycheck comes with taxes already taken out, usually.
But the BI side operates differently with taxes. Fundamentally differently.
How so?
They're generally structured to earn income, then spend money on legitimate business expenses, things needed to run the business or manage the investments, and then they pay taxes on whatever profit is left over.
Ah, so expenses come out before taxes.
Yes, which can dramatically lower the effective tax rate, sometimes down to 20%, sometimes potentially even near zero, legally.
Okay, give us a concrete example. How does a business owner or real estate investor actually manage that? This is the kind of stuff people want to know.
Sure. So say you're an employee, you earn $100K. Maybe $40K goes to taxes, you live on $60K. If you're a B or I earning $100 through your business or property.
You have expenses you can deduct.
Right. Things like maybe part of your car use, travel for business, continuing education related to your investments, home office space, salaries for staff, things an employee pays for with after-tax money.
The business owner uses pre-tax dollars for those same things.
Correct. And a huge one, especially in real estate, is depreciation. It's a bit complex, but it's basically a tax deduction the government allows you for the assumed wear and tear on a property over time.
Even if the property is actually going up in value.
Often, yes. It's a paper expense.
Yeah.
So these deductions can make your taxable income look much lower, meaning your tax bill shrinks, sometimes significantly.
Okay, now I see why moving to the BI side is harder. To get those advantages, you have to understand this stuff. Kiyosaki said he had to learn things he hated, right?
Absolutely hated.
Yeah.
He talks about forcing himself to learn about tax law, corporate structures, debt strategies, insurance, accounting, even how lawsuits work. Things that, frankly, sound incredibly boring to most people.
Things that ES people focus on their craft or career usually avoid like the plague.
He says they never do this because they just want to do their passion, climb the ladder. They don't want the headache of learning finance and law.
But Kiyosaki's motivation wasn't a sudden love for the tax code.
No way. He did it because he wanted the outcome.
Yeah.
Freedom. He endured studying the stuff he hated to acquire the assets and the lifestyle he loved.
It's about learning the language of money and business, not necessarily becoming the accountant yourself.
Precisely. So you can direct the accountants and lawyers effectively.
Which leads perfectly into his core advice for young people. Instead of do what you love, ES.
He says, shift to invest in what you love, BI.
A totally different frame. So what does he invest in? What does that look like for him?
He focuses his BI activities on assets he actually connects with. He lists three main categories.
Okay, number one.
His business, that's the core engine. It generates cash flow, pays for his team CEO, accountants, lawyers, and funds his lifestyle and further investments.
Got it. Number two.
Real estate. And he's specific here. He says he loves property. He only buys pieces of land or buildings he genuinely finds appealing or interesting. Passion for the asset.
Not necessarily passion for fixing toilets, but passion for the deal, the numbers, the property itself.
Exactly. And number three is commodities.
Like raw materials.
Yeah, tangible things. Food is one he's mentioned, investing in avocado farms, for example.
Right.
Also oil, gold, silver, things rooted in the physical world.
Interesting. Now, what he explicitly rejects is what most people think of as investing, the paper trap, he calls it.
Yeah, this is where he often clashes with mainstream financial advice. He says he actively dislikes, even hates, paper assets.
So stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs, even retirement accounts like 401ks and IRAs.
He lumps them all together as not my game. He admits they might be okay for the ES middle class who want something simple and hands-off.
But for building serious BI wealth and freedom, he sees them as inadequate.
Or even a trap, because they fit the ES mindset. Perceived security, low requirement for financial education, but you're still stuck paying those higher income tax rates on contributions and often gains.
But isn't that a bit extreme? I mean, for the average person without millions to start a big business or buy apartment buildings, isn't a 401k a crucial tool? Completely dismissing, it seems, risky advice.
That's the criticism, absolutely, and why he's polarizing. His perspective is laser-focused on his path to BI freedom, which relies heavily on using leverage and tax strategies unavailable through typical paper assets. He'd argue the 401k keeps you dependent on the system he escaped.
It keeps you in the ES tax structure, essentially.
That's his view. His path requires that deep dive into the boring stuff, taxes, debt, etc., that paper assets allow you to skip.
He also warns about chasing shiny objects, right? Which feels very relevant today.
Very. Think about the hype around, say, certain cryptocurrencies or meme stocks. Things that promise fast, easy money.
The get-rich-quick allure.
Exactly. He sees people chasing these shiny objects because they want the money now, but they aren't actually building a sustainable cash-flowing asset. They're gambling more than investing, in his view.
We saw that example in the source material, the student who got caught up in Bitcoin hype.
Yeah, she realized she was chasing it because everyone else was, not because she truly understood it or loved it as an investment. She then shifted to real estate because looking at properties, analyzing deals that resonated with her, that was investing in what she loved.
That self-awareness seems critical, knowing what kind of asset actually fits your interest and your knowledge level.
Which brings us right to the link between risk and education.
Kiyosaki's point is, the riskier the investment.
The more financial education you absolutely need to handle it safely.
He's a flying analogy.
Yeah, comparing flying a simple Cessna, like maybe a basic index fund, low risk, needs basic knowledge, versus flying combat missions in Vietnam, which he did.
High stakes, high risk.
Required intense study, practice, deep understanding. You couldn't fake it. His implication is that staying in simple paper assets requires relatively no intelligence compared to successfully navigating big business or complex real estate deals.
So the BI side demands serious learning, which ties into that wild story about his mentor, Frank, testing his dedication.
Oh, the Peru story.
Yeah.
It's classic. Kiyosaki wanted to learn about IPO's initial public offerings.
Okay.
So Frank, his rich dad mentor figure, basically tested his commitment. He was in Arizona on a Wednesday. Frank tells him, be in Lima, Peru, this Saturday.
Just like that, Lima. Why?
To supposedly look at some gold mines. Frank was considering for an IPO. This trip cost Kiyosaki something like $15,000 to $20,000 of his own money. A huge sum back then.
Wow. Did he go?
He went, flew down, looked at the mines, studied the situation, flew back.
So what was the big lesson? Was the mine a good investment?
When he got back, Frank basically said, yeah, I could have told you there was nothing there. The trip wasn't about the mines at all.
It was purely a test, a $20,000 test.
Exactly. A test of his resolve. Frank's point was cutting. Most people are wimps. They want the paycheck, the security, but they won't make that kind of painful commitment, time, money, effort to get the education needed for the BI side.
That level of dedication is essential, especially when dealing with assets that bring us to our final key concept, liquidity.
Yeah, liquidity ties so much of this together. It's simply how fast you can sell an asset and get your cash back. Or, maybe more importantly, how fast you can get out if you realize you messed up.
Okay, so paper assets, stocks, ETFs are generally very liquid.
Right. You buy a stock, change your mind, you can usually sell it in seconds or minutes during market hours. Make a mistake, you get out, as Kiyosaki puts it. Relatively easy escape.
But BI assets are different.
Very different. Real estate and owning a business are typically not liquid, illiquid.
Yeah.
If you buy the wrong building or start a business that flounders, you can't just click a button and sell it tomorrow. You're often stuck. You might have loans, leases, employees. You have to write it down, manage the problem, try to fix it or sell it over potentially a long time.
There's no quick exit if you make a big mistake.
Exactly. Which is why the less liquid the asset.
The higher your financial IQ needs to be before you jump in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because you don't have the safety net of easy escape. You're committed. Your knowledge, your ability to manage the asset, that's your safety net. This is why that painful study of taxes, debt, law is non-negotiable for him before tackling these illiquid BI assets.
Okay, so wrapping this all up, what's the big takeaway for you, the listener? Maybe someone starting out on the E or S side.
Kiyosaki presents a stark choice, really. It's the perceived security of doing what you love on the ES side, but likely paying higher taxes and being tied to your own time.
Versus the potential for massive freedom by investing in what you love on the BI side, using tax advantages, but
the price of admission is tough. It requires that dedicated, often painful study of subjects most people run from: finance, tax, law.
It's not about saying one path is right and one is wrong for everyone.
Not at all. It's about understanding the fundamentally different rules, especially tax rules, and the different levels of commitment and financial education each path demands. Kiyosaki champions the BI path, but is very clear about the grit required.
Which brings us to a final thought to chew on. That Peru story, the $20,000 test, was about forcing an investment in education before the actual asset investment.
A very expensive lesson in preparation.
So, if non-liquid assets like businesses or real estate demand such a high financial IQ because you can't easily escape mistakes, how much time should you realistically dedicate to studying those complex, maybe boring subjects before you take the plunge?
Kiyosaki got rich, in part because he forced himself to learn that difficult stuff early on. What's the complex, potentially boring subject that could dramatically accelerate your financial understanding and maybe, just maybe, your path towards that BI quadrant, if that's where you want to go?
Something to think about. That's our deep dive for today.